On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go yourself.
For many years, Donald Trump crafted a public persona rooted not only in money or property, but in a relentlessly repeated assertion that he possessed extraordinary intelligence. He didn't just walk into a room, he asserted dominance by declaring himself the sharpest mind there. Time and again, he dismissed Ivy League graduates as unimpressive and ineffective, while portraying himself as someone whose natural instincts outweighed formal education, discipline, or intellectual modesty. He labeled himself a stable genius, repeating the phrase until it functioned as a shield. "I'm very consistent," he would say. "I'm a very stable genius." This wasn't a throwaway line. It was the backbone of his identity. But this week, on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, that backbone didn't just weaken, it gave way entirely in a moment that felt far less like satire and far more like an autopsy of a political legend. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett appeared alongside Colbert and disclosed what she claimed was a document Trump has supposedly worked for decades to keep out of public view.
The president went on, "I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next." Nope, no, absolutely not, Kimmel. I am the martyr, okay? Okay, there's only room for one on this cross, and I gotta tell you, the view is fantastic from up here. I can see your house.
His original SAT score from 1965. The mood in the studio shifted instantly when Crockett opened her folder. This was no casual exchange. It was a reveal. Colbert, usually quick with humor, leaned back as Crockett presented a sealed envelope. The crowd fell quiet, sensing that what was coming wouldn't be a joke. But evidence, when the score was announced, the impact was immediate. Trump, the man who proclaimed he had the greatest brain, who insisted on his unmatched intellect, had allegedly scored a 970 out of 1,600. At the time, the national average SAT score sat between roughly 980 and 990. By the numbers, Trump landed slightly below average. He didn't outperform. He didn't stand out. He didn't display exceptional. He came in beneath the ordinary, and that single figure forced a re-examination of decades of self-promotion. In that period, the SAT carried real weight. It functioned as a gatekeeper, a signal of academic readiness. A below-average score didn't mean someone lacked intelligence, but it certainly didn't validate a lifelong claim of brilliance. Then the segment took a sharply comedic turn. Colbert referenced other material connected to cognitive tests Trump has famously claimed to ace. One question reportedly asked, "What do a grape and an orange have in common?" A typical response would be, "They're fruit." Trump's alleged answer, "They're both soda." The audience exploded. Another question asked, "What is 30 minus 7? The alleged response, "My approval rating." Even framed as humor, the underlying message was unmistakable. Trump's image has always leaned more on bold confidence than confirmed proof.
And now for the next 10 months, the gloves are off. I can finally speak unvarnished truth to power and say what I really think about Donald Trump, starting right now.
But the laughter faded quickly. Crockett then delivered a statement that altered the tone entirely. Looking directly into the camera, she said that Trump had spent years ridiculing educated Americans, branding them as elitist and disconnected. Yet his own score showed performance barely above failure. She pointed out that he claimed dominance while treating facts as optional, and that his attacks on intelligent people appeared very different once the numbers were revealed. That moment laid bare the contradiction at the core of Trump's career. His reputation has been shaped by exaggeration, bravado, and deliberate myth-building. This disclosure struck at the very foundation of that myth. It also echoed long-standing assertions made by Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, who testified that one of his responsibilities was to threaten schools and institutions to keep Trump's academic records from becoming public. Why threaten lawsuits over a test score from half a century ago? The answer is clear: because the truth risked damaging the brand. The reaction was swift, social media lit up, Hashtags like 970 Genius surged, transforming a once private score into a public symbol. Supporters rushed to argue that standardized tests don't measure intelligence, but that defense runs headlong into Trump's own history.